Well, I was the female member of the Canadian adventure racing team that raced at the World Championships in Borneo. And at the time when I was racing, I was the executive vice president of a subsidiary of the H.J. Heinz Company, which was in the fitness business of their business. And since then, I've become a professional speaker, and I travel speaking to audiences all over the world about high-performance teams and high-performance people. Some of the leadership lessons I learned while racing Eco Challenge, which was the World Championships, were first and foremost, when they looked at successful teams in this race, they found that all 4 members of the team were wonderful, incredible leaders. And one of the neat, cool things about what we saw as the race emerges and the teams have to function is that the teams that performed at the highest level were made up of 4 people who could lead but didn't have to lead. They were just as capable as becoming followers as leaders, and could shift those gears without detrimentally affecting the team in that process. So that was a big learning. The other was that leadership is not always glamorous. That at times it presents to you situations where you see the worst in people, you see behavior that's unbecoming, you recognize behavior in yourself perhaps that was unbeknownst to you before, put under the pressure of leadership. And I think in the execution of leadership is the opportunity always to catch a glimpse of the potential to learn or improve in areas where you can see the impact of your own actions in those times. And I would say lastly that leadership is also affected by not only the environment that you're leading in, but the people at any one time that you're leading. And the ability to be adaptable to those shifting foundations, those shifting behaviors in the people that are part of your team is an incredible asset to a good leader. To me, good followership means that in any given situation, a leader is capable of understanding that there are actions that are required that may be attributed to the leader themselves, but then they have actions as a follower of that leadership that would be different than perhaps the leader themselves. And I think, unique to leadership, in my opinion, is the fact that you're often leading while you're following. So you may be leading a team at the same time you're being led by someone else. And so there's a middle ground of behavior that's required. And followership to me is about support, trust, courage in the fact that when you're a follower, sometimes you need to be courageous enough to bring forth your thoughts on the process while supporting it. I think one of the real pitfalls or the cliffs that some leaders fall off is where they may be in disagreement with an action, and that makes them incapable of creating motion or action behind it. In the reality, I think we need to be capable of giving support to a strategy or to an action, even if we're not in full agreement with it. The biggest learning about myself while I was racing Eco Challenge was very simply that I had incredible ability in so much of the areas, in the skill sets that were necessary to race. And I'd been a leader of teams myself, but in this particular situation, I was not the captain of our team. And I learned most about myself that I had to elevate my ability to be compassionate. That on any given day, people who were incredible in various areas of either the behavior that supported success or the actions that supported success, that on any given day there were slips and falls in those categories where you saw behaviors that were not impressive, and yet they were still an impressive person. So I found that when I looked back on my time as a leader in business, that I had thought I did a really good job of setting the bar, of communicating the standards, of pushing people's efforts. And I think I did that at the expense of being compassionate to people's state of mind or state of environment at any one time. What I found to be a barrier to learning may be a little different than what some other leaders may have communicated, because what I found to be a barrier to learning was the state of my personal being. In that, one of the things that's unique about racing Eco Challenge is you take these incredibly fit, skilled, intelligent, experienced athletes. And when they're put in situations where they have very little sleep, very little food and water, put under immense pressure. So when they're put in situations where their actual body and mind can't thrive, the learning component just shuts down and you revert to the known processes that have been ingrained in you. And so one of the things I communicate that I think is really important is that you set yourself up physically and health-wise to be capable of learning. Our brain is a growing, living organism, so we need to feed it, fuel it, and rest it. And when we do those things really well, we actually find that our minds are much more open to taking in learning. And that is really magnified in this race, how much people fail to learn how to be successful in that environment. I think the one message I would like to leave the students with is that, you know, the single biggest commitment I believe we ever have to make is to the process of hard work and being willing to put the work in to developing, you know, the character, the competencies, the all-round abilities. It's a multifaceted effort, and you want to be directing energy cognitively, like consciously intending to improve in those areas is what will elevate their capabilities as a leader.